The enormous crystal chamber floated in the darkness of space, its walls pulsing with soft blue light. Inside, 12 different alien species sat in a perfect circle, their strange forms casting weird shadows on the floor. This was a galactic council, and today they were making the most important decision in 1,000 years. Ambassador Veldar shifted his 6 metallic arms as he spoke. His species, the Kix, had ruled 3 star systems for centuries. "The humans are spreading too fast," he said, his mechanical voice echoing through the chamber. 50 years ago, they could barely leave their own planet. Now they control 14 star systems. Around the circle, other aliens nodded their various heads, tentacles, and sensory organs. The humans were indeed a problem that kept growing bigger. Dr. Minho Park stood alone in the center of the circle. He was the only human in the room, wearing his best diplomatic uniform. His hands were steady, but inside his heart was racing. He knew why they had called this meeting. "Honored delegates," Minho said, bowing respectfully to each alien species. "Humanity comes in peace. We only want to learn and grow alongside our galactic neighbors." A harsh sound filled the chamber. It was laughter, but not the kind humans made. Commander Raxville of the Hegemony was making fun of him. Raxville looked like a giant insect with armor, plating, and razor-sharp claws. "Peace." Raxville clicked his mandibles. "Your species fights 12 wars across 4 different star sectors right now. You call that peace?" Minho tried to explain. "Those are small conflicts, border disputes, nothing that threatens galactic stability." "Small." Another alien spoke up. This was Zarthok, whose species looked like floating jellyfish made of crystal. "You destroyed an entire moon last month during one of your small conflicts." The other aliens murmured agreement. Minho felt the weight of their stares. Some had dozens of eyes. Others had sensors that could see things humans couldn't even imagine. "That was an accident," Minho said quietly. "We're still learning to control our weapons." "Exactly our point," said Ambassador Kethvar of the Zephyrian Empire. Her species was tall and thin, with skin that changed colors when they felt strong emotions. Right now, her skin was flashing angry red patterns. "You have weapons you cannot control. You expand without asking permission. You take resources that belong to others." Minho looked around the circle. Every alien face showed the same expression, even though their faces were completely different from each other. They were afraid of humans, but they were also disgusted by them. "We can change," Minho said desperately. "Give us time to prove that humans can be good galactic citizens." "Time!" Veldar's mechanical laugh sounded like grinding metal. "We gave you time. 50 years of watching and waiting. Do you know what we learned?" Minho stayed silent. "We learned that humans don't just want to explore space." Veldar continued. "You want to own it. Every planet you touch becomes a human world. Every system you enter becomes human territory. You're not explorers. You're conquerors." The chamber fell quiet except for the humming of the crystal walls. Minho could feel the decision forming in the air around him like a storm cloud. "The Galactic Council will now vote," announced the chamber computer in a voice that had no emotion. "The question before us is simple. Should humanity be allowed to continue expanding into galactic space?" One by one, the aliens cast their votes. Each time, a small light appeared above their section of the chamber. Green meant yes. Humans could continue exploring. Red meant no. Humans must be stopped. Red light, red light, red light. Minho watched as 12 red lights filled the chamber. Not a single green light appeared. "The vote is final," the computer announced. 12 votes against, 0 votes in favor. The Terran quarantine protocol is now in effect. "What does that mean?" Minho asked, though he already knew the answer would be terrible. Kethvar's skin flashed bright orange as she explained. "It means your species is banned from leaving your current territory. We're building a wall around human space. Force fields, automated weapons, guardian stations. Nothing gets in, nothing gets out." "You can't do this," Minho said, his diplomatic calm finally breaking. "This is imprisonment. This is treating us like criminals." "No," said Raxville, standing up to his full intimidating height. "This is treating you like the dangerous animals you are. Wild beasts belong in cages. The other aliens laughed again, that strange mix of sound that humans found so disturbing. To them, this was funny. The idea that humans might resist, might fight back, was a joke. Your ships are primitive, added Zarthok. Your weapons are crude. Your technology is borrowed and stolen. What could you possibly do against 12 advanced civilizations working together? Minho activated his communication device one last time before the aliens could stop him. He sent a single message back to Earth, just 3 words. They chose war. As the chamber security systems cut off his communications, Minho looked around at the alien faces one more time. They were all smiling, or doing whatever their species did when they felt happy. They had no idea what they had just done. They had no idea what humans became when they were cornered. 3 months had passed since the alien force fields trapped humanity in their own solar systems. Most humans on Earth felt hopeless, watching news reports of failed attempts to break through the barriers. But deep in the asteroid belt, far from prying alien sensors, something incredible was happening. Dr. Soyoung Kim wiped sweat from her forehead as she stepped out of her secret laboratory. The asteroid facility looked like any other mining operation from the outside, but inside, it held humanity's greatest secret. She had been working for 18 hours straight, and her tired eyes burned from staring at quantum equations. Did it work? Asked her assistant, Jinwoo Lee, who had been waiting nervously outside the lab door. So-young smiled for the first time in weeks. We did it. The quantum tunnel drive is working perfectly. Jinwoo's mouth fell open. He had been working on this project for 2 years, ever since the government started the secret program. The idea seemed impossible back then. How could humans travel instantly across space without the aliens detecting them? How is that possible? Jinwoo asked. The aliens have sensors everywhere. They can see ships moving from light years away. That's exactly why it works, So-young explained as they walked through the hidden corridors of the facility. Their sensors look for ships moving through normal space. But we're not moving through space anymore. We're stepping outside of it completely, then stepping back in somewhere else. They entered a large chamber where a strange-looking ship sat in the center. It was smaller than regular human vessels, painted completely black, and covered in equipment that looked nothing like traditional engines. Captain Dongwoo Lee was examining the ship with several other engineers. He was So-young's older brother, and one of the few people who knew about all the secret facilities hidden throughout human space. The first test flight is ready, Dongwoo announced when he saw his sister. We can reach the Proxima system in 30 seconds without triggering a single alien sensor. So-young felt a thrill of excitement mixed with fear. If this worked, everything would change. If it failed, they might all be discovered and killed. How many ships are ready? She asked. 27 vessels across 15 different facilities, Dongwoo replied. Each one hidden in places the aliens would never think to look. Dead moons, empty asteroid fields, the inside of gas giant storms. While the Kim siblings worked on their secret technology, other humans were busy with different parts of the resistance plan. On a rogue planet floating in the darkness between stars, Intelligence Officer Hygiene Choi sat in front of dozens of computer screens. For the past 7 years, even before the quarantine began, Hygiene had been doing something the aliens thought was impossible. She was listening to their private communications. The aliens believed their encryption was perfect. They thought their languages were too complex for human minds to understand. They were wrong on both counts. What are they saying today? Asked her partner, Taemin Park, as he brought her a cup of coffee. The usual, Hygiene replied, not taking her eyes off the screens. They're arguing about which species gets to control the former human territories once they decide to wipe us out completely. Taemin felt his stomach turn cold. They're planning to kill everyone? Not yet, Hygiene said calmly, but they're talking about it more often, especially Commander Raxville. He thinks keeping us alive is too dangerous. On the screens, alien text scrolled past in dozens of different languages. Hygiene had spent years learning to read and understand them all. She knew the location of every major alien military base. She had the names and addresses of important alien leaders. Most importantly, she knew their weaknesses. Look at this, she said, pointing to one screen. The Zephyrian Empire just moved half their fleet to the Outer Rim. They're fighting some kind of rebellion in their own territory. That's useful, Tae-min said. Are you recording everything? Everything, Hygiene confirmed. When the time comes, we'll know exactly where to hit them and how to hurt them the most. Meanwhile, on a hidden base inside a hollow asteroid, General Ji-hun Yang was meeting with the leaders of the resistance movement. The room was small and cramped, lit by emergency lighting that cast strange shadows on the walls. Status report, Yang said to the group of officers around the table. Quantum drive technology is operational, reported Captain Dongwu. We can move our ships anywhere in the galaxy without detection. Intelligence gathering is proceeding perfectly, added Hygiene via secure communication link. The aliens have no idea we've been watching them for years. What about weapons? Yang asked. Dr. Suk-Jin Park, a weapons specialist, answered that question. We've developed something the aliens have never seen before. Nanoscale warfare devices, microscopic machines that can be deployed to their own supply networks. How do they work? Yang asked. Simple, Suk-Jin explained. We introduce them into alien food supplies, air systems, or computer networks. They spread throughout their infrastructure, completely undetectable. When we activate them, they begin breaking down alien technology from the inside. Yang nodded slowly. The plan was dangerous and complex, but it might be humanity's only chance. How much longer do we need? He asked. 6 months to fully prepare, So-young answered. Maybe less if the aliens give us a reason to move faster. As if summoned by her words, an urgent message appeared on the communication screens. It was from Earth Command, and it was marked with the highest priority level. Yang read the message and felt his blood turn to ice. The aliens had just destroyed a human research station, killing 300 innocent people, including women and children. Change of plans, Yang said grimly. We move in 72 hours. The warning came too late. Research Station Harmony was a peaceful place floating in the outer edges of human space, home to scientists who studied plants and medicines that could help sick people. Dr. Eun-ji Park was working late in her laboratory when the first alien ships appeared on the sensors. This is Station Harmony to any alien vessels, she transmitted calmly. We are a medical research facility. We have no weapons. Please state your intentions. The response came not in words, but in plasma fire. Major Suk-Jin Park was visiting his sister station when the attack began. He grabbed Eun-ji and her 2 young children, Min-seo and Junho, trying to get them to the escape pods. The corridors filled with smoke and the screams of terrified civilians. Uncle Jean, what's happening? 8-year-old Min-seo asked, clutching her baby brother as explosions shook the station. Just stay close to me, Suk-Jin said, but he already knew they wouldn't make it to the pods in time. The station's hull cracked open like an egg. Air rushed out into space. Carry with it 300 human lives, including the woman Suk-Jin loved most in the world and the children he had promised to protect. From his command ship, Hegemony Commander Raxville watched the destruction with satisfaction. His orders had been simple. Make an example that would show humans what happened when they tried to resist quarantine. Target destroyed. His weapons officer reported. No survivors detected. Excellent. Raxville clicked his mandibles together happily. Record everything and broadcast it to the Galactic Council. Let them see how efficiently we handle human defiance. The footage spread across the galaxy within hours. Alien news networks showed the destruction over and over, with commentators praising the quick action taken against human aggression. The fact that Station Harmony had no weapons and posed no threat to anyone was never mentioned. But the aliens made one critical mistake. The footage also reached human space. On Earth, President Eugene Nam watched the security recordings in her private office. She saw Dr. Eun-ji Park's final moments, saw the children crying for their parents, saw Major Suk-Jin Park's desperate attempt to save his family. Around the world, humans watched the same footage. In the streets of Seoul, people gathered around public screens in shocked silence. In the cities of America and Europe, crowds formed spontaneously, their anger growing with each replay of the attack. They killed children, whispered Communications Officer Boram Kim as she monitored public reactions from her secret facility. The aliens killed human children, and they're celebrating it. The alien celebrations were indeed loud and proud. Council member Zarthok appeared on every major galactic broadcast network, his crystalline form shimmering with amusement. Let this be a lesson to the caged humans, he announced to billions of alien viewers. We are not your equals. We are your superiors, your betters, your owners. His laughter sounded like breaking glass. Perhaps next time Earth sends a diplomat, they should choose someone prettier to beg for mercy. The transmission was intercepted by Resistance Intelligence Officer Hai-Jin Choi, who immediately forwarded it to General Ji-Hun Yang's command center. Yang watched the alien mockery in silence, his face showing no emotion, but his hands slowly forming fists. Sir, Boram said quietly, Earth Command is calling for you. Yang activated the secure communication link. President Nam appeared on the screen, and he could see the fury burning in her eyes. General, she said in a voice cold as space itself, Operation Prometheus is authorized. Full activation. No restrictions. Understood, Madam President. Yang replied. When do we begin? Now. Yang turned to his assembled staff officers. Each of them had lost someone in the past 3 years of quarantine. Each of them had watched aliens treat humanity like dangerous animals that needed to be caged. All stations, this is command. Yang announced over the quantum communication array. Across dozens of hidden facilities throughout human space, Resistance fighters received the message they had been waiting for. Operation Prometheus is active. Repeat, Operation Prometheus is active. The hunt begins now. On the secret asteroid base, Dr. So-Young Kim felt her heart racing as she powered up the quantum tunnel drives. Captain Dongwoo Lee checked his weapons one final time before boarding his stealth vessel. Remember, So-Young told her brother, we're not conquerors, we're exterminators. At her intelligence station, Hai-Jin Choi uploaded 7 years' worth of intercepted alien communications to the strike teams. Every military base, every government facility, every important alien leader's location was now in human hands. They wanted to make an example of us, she said to Taemin Park as they prepared to deploy the nanoscale warfare devices. Let's show them what a real example looks like. Deep in hidden facilities, human soldiers prepared equipment the aliens had never imagined. Weapons that could disable entire fleets. Technology that could turn alien infrastructure against itself. Strategies developed by minds that spent generations learning how to survive against impossible odds. The aliens had made their choice when they destroyed Station Harmony. They had decided that humans were animals to be punished and controlled. Now humanity would show them the difference between animals and apex predators. Major Sukjin Park stood in the armory of his assault ship, loading weapons and thinking about his sister's final smile. The aliens thought they understood humans. They thought fear would make humanity submit. They were about to learn how wrong they could be. The war was about to begin, and it would be unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The first alien worlds went silent at exactly the same moment across 12 different star systems. Admiral Veldar was drinking his morning nutrition fluid when his communication officer rushed into his command center on the flagship Eternal Glory. Sir, we've lost contact with Border Station 7, the officer reported, his 6 arms shaking with nervousness. Technical problems, Veldar said calmly. Send a repair team. Sir, we've also lost contact with Border Stations 3, 9, 12, and 15. Veldar's metallic face couldn't show expression, but his internal temperature sensors started flashing warning signals. 5 stations going dark at once was not a technical problem. What do our long-range sensors show? He asked. Nothing, sir. The stations are still there, but no one is responding to our calls. What Veldar couldn't see was Captain Dongwoo Lee's strike team materializing directly inside Border Station 7 through quantum tunnels. The human soldiers appeared like ghosts in the station's main corridor, their black uniforms making them nearly invisible. Remember the plan, Dongwoo whispered to his team. Disable communications first, weapons second, life support third. No survivors, no witnesses. The alien guards at Station 7 never saw them coming. Human weapons fired silently, stunning the aliens before they could raise an alarm. Within 10 minutes, the entire facility was under human control. Communications down, reported Sergeant Hai-1 Kim. Weapons offline, confirmed Corporal Min-Jun Lee. Life support systems disabled, added Private So-Min Park. Dongwoo nodded grimly. Good. Deploy the nanobots and move to the next target. Across the galaxy, identical scenes played out at dozens of alien installations. Human teams appeared from nowhere, struck with precision, and vanished just as quickly. But the real terror was only beginning. On the hegemony homeworld, Commander Raxville was enjoying his victory celebration when his personal assistant rushed into banquet hall. Commander, our outer defense grid is malfunctioning. The assistant clicked urgently. Define malfunctioning, Raxville said, not looking up for his meal of live prey. The weapons are turning themselves off. The shields are deactivating. The communication arrays are dissolving. Dissolving? Raxville finally looked up. What do you mean dissolving? What he meant was Dr. Suk-Jin Park's nanoscale warfare devices. For months, Hai-Jin Choi had been carefully introducing microscopic machines into alien supply chains. The tiny robots had spread throughout alien space, carried in food shipments, fuel supplies, and replacement parts. Now, at the touch of a button from General Yang's command center, billions of nanobots activated simultaneously across the galaxy. They began their work quietly, breaking down alien technology from the inside at the molecular level. On the Zephyrian capital world, Ambassador Ketvar watched in horror as her species' most advanced warships simply stopped working. Weapon systems failed. Engine cores went cold. Even basic life support began shutting down. How is this possible? She asked her military advisor, her skin flashing panicked purple patterns. We don't know, the advisor replied. It's as if our technology is being eaten from within. The advisor was exactly right. The nanobots were designed to target alien materials specifically, leaving human technology untouched. Every alien device they encountered was slowly converted into harmless dust. But the most terrifying discovery came when alien intelligence officers tried to coordinate their response. Communications specialist Torval of the Kix Empire made the announcement that changed everything. Council members, he reported during an emergency transmission, the humans have been listening to us for 7 years. The silence that followed was deafening. Explain, demanded Zarthok, his crystalline form flickering with disbelief. Every military code, every secret transmission, every private conversation between government officials. They have recordings of all of it. They know the location of every base, every weapon, every leader. Intelligence Director Hai-Jin Choi smiled as she monitored the alien panic from her hidden station. 7 years of patient work was finally paying off. While the aliens had been laughing at human primitive technology, she had been mapping their entire civilization. They're trying to change their communication codes. Tae-min reported from his position. Too late, Hai-Jin said. We already know where everything is. The systematic destruction that followed defied every alien prediction. Human forces didn't fight fair battles or engage in honorable combat. They struck like a plague, appearing everywhere at once, targeting the exact weak points that would cause maximum damage. On his command vessel, General Yong watched the tactical displays as red lights blinked out across the galaxy. Each light represented an alien installation that had gone dark. Status report, he requested calmly. 70% of alien military assets offline, reported Captain Dongwoo from the field. Their communication network is collapsing. Most of their leaders are trapped on their homeworlds with no way to coordinate. Casualties on our side? 0, sir. The quantum tunneling keeps our forces completely undetectable. Yang nodded. This was going exactly as planned. Humans have spent 3 years preparing for this moment, using every hour of quarantine to study their enemies and develop weapons the aliens couldn't imagine. The most shocking thing for the aliens was realizing that humans had never intended to conquer territory or capture resources. They had evolved beyond such simple goals. They had become something far more efficient, a species that eliminated threats completely and permanently. As Admiral Veldar watched his mighty fleet drift powerless in space, He finally understood the terrible mistake the Galactic Council had made. They hadn't caged a dangerous animal. They had given apex predators time to plan their hunt. The last alien transmission reached the edge of the galaxy at exactly 71 hours and 43 minutes after Operation Prometheus began. It was a desperate plea for help from a small trading station, but there was no one left to answer. In the crystal chambers of the Galactic Council Station, Admiral Mireille Shin walked slowly through the empty halls. Her footsteps echoed in the silence where once the voices of 12 alien species had debated the fate of humanity. Now the chambers were as quiet as a tomb. The alien delegates had tried to escape when their homeworlds went dark. Ambassador Veldar had attempted to flee in his personal ship, but the quantum tunnel drives allowed human forces to appear anywhere instantly. Commander Raxville had barricaded himself in his military bunker, but the nanobots had turned his own weapons against him. One by one, every alien leader had discovered that there was nowhere to run. Mireille stopped in front of the council seats, each one designed for a different alien species. The kick seat with its metallic framework, the hegemony throne with its sharp edges, the floating platform where Zarthok had once mocked humanity's diplomatic efforts. "Are the cameras ready?" she asked her communications officer, Lieutenant Jean-Woo Park. "Yes, Admiral. Broadcasting to every surviving facility in the galaxy." "How many are still receiving signals?" Jean-Woo checked his equipment. "Maybe a few thousand small stations. Research outposts. Mining colonies. Places too unimportant for us to target directly." Mireille nodded. Those survivors would carry the message to whatever remained of galactic civilization. She activated the transmission and faced the camera. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, her voice calm and clear. "I am Admiral Mireille Shin of the Human Resistance Forces. I stand in what was once the Galactic Council chamber, where your leaders voted unanimously to cage humanity like dangerous animals. On distant worlds and remote stations, the few remaining aliens watched in terrified silence. Some tried to change channels, but the human signal had taken over every communication network simultaneously. You wanted us contained." Mireille continued. "You mocked our attempts at peaceful diplomacy. You laughed when we warned you that conflict would benefit no one. You destroyed our research stations and murdered our children to make your point." The camera slowly panned across the empty council chamber, showing the abandoned seats of civilizations that had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years. "Now you understand why we tried to warn you about humanity's true nature. We don't just survive extinction events." Mireille paused, letting the silence stretch across space. "We become them." On a small research station orbiting a dying star, alien scientist Kivtar watched the transmission with growing horror. He had spent his life studying human behavior, writing papers about their aggressive tendencies and primitive emotions. Now he realized he had understood nothing. "Your species made a fundamental error," Mireille's voice continued. "You assumed that because we were younger and smaller, we were also weaker. You thought our technology was crude and our strategy simple. You were wrong." The transmission cut to footage from the war itself. Alien viewers saw their mighty fleets drifting powerless in space. They watched as their most secure military bases went dark one after another. They witnessed their advanced technology dissolving into dust as nanobots did their work. "We spent 7 years learning everything about you while you learned nothing about us," Mireille explained. "We intercepted every transmission, mapped every facility, studied every weakness. When you gave us 3 years of quarantine, you gave us time to prepare weapons you couldn't imagine and strategies you couldn't counter." Back in the council chamber, Mireille stood before Zarthok's floating platform. The crystalline alien who had once broadcast his mockery across the galaxy was now nothing but scattered fragments on his homeworld. "Some of you are wondering what happens next," she said. "Whether humanity will become the new rulers of your territories. Whether we will demand tribute or force you to serve us." On the remote stations where aliens still lived, hope flickered briefly. Perhaps the humans would be merciful conquerors. Perhaps they could negotiate some kind of survival. "The answer is no," Mireille said simply. "We have no interest in ruling over you or taking your resources. We don't want your technology or your territories. The hope died as quickly as it had appeared. We want something much simpler. We want you to remember this moment. We want the few survivors to tell their children what happens when you threaten humanity. We want the story to spread across whatever civilizations grow from the ashes of your empires. Mireille walked to the center of the chamber where Dr. Minho Park had once stood alone, outnumbered and dismissed by alien arrogance. "Consider this your final lesson in human diplomacy," she said. "Sometimes the best way to ensure peace is to make war so terrible that no one ever wants to risk it again." The transmission began to fade, but Mireille's voice remained clear. "To the scattered survivors hiding in the dark corners of space, know this. Humanity bears you no hatred. We simply needed to teach the galaxy a truth that your leaders refused to learn. Some species survive by adapting to their environment. Others survive by making the environment adapt to them." The screen went black. Across the galaxy, profound silence settled like a blanket. The few remaining aliens sat in their isolated stations, finally understanding what they had awakened. The quarantine had worked perfectly. It had kept the dangerous species contained until they were ready to emerge. Unfortunately for the galaxy, the dangerous species had been outside the cage all along.